Michael had always been the type to plan meticulously. Every detail of his life was carefully mapped out, from his morning routine to his career aspirations. So, on that fateful day, as he rushed through the bustling streets, he felt a tight knot of anxiety in his stomach. The job interview he had worked tirelessly to secure was just around the corner, and he could almost visualize himself walking confidently into the office. He rehearsed his answers in his head, focusing on the qualities that made him the ideal candidate. But in his haste, he miscalculated the building number, and before he knew it, he found himself standing in front of a weathered door that did not match the one he had intended to knock on. The door creaked open, revealing an elderly woman with silver hair pulled back into a neat bun. She wore a floral dress that seemed to echo a bygone era, and her eyes sparkled with a mix of surprise and curiosity. "Oh, are you here to help me?" she asked, her voice warm but slightly quivering with age. In that moment, Michael was taken aback. He had been so consumed by his own urgency that he hadn't even considered that someone might need assistance. Caught off guard, he hesitated. The clock was ticking, and every second felt like a weight on his shoulders. Yet, looking into the woman's expectant eyes, he felt a tug at his heartstrings. He could see the slight tremor in her hands, the way she struggled with the grocery bags that hung heavily from her frail arms. It was a simple choice, really. He could either rush away, consumed by his own ambition, or take a moment to help someone who clearly needed it. "Sure, I can help you," he finally replied, setting aside his own worries for just a moment. As he stepped inside the cozy little apartment, he was enveloped by the scent of freshly baked cookies and the faint aroma of lavender. The woman's home was filled with trinkets and photographs, each one telling a story of a life well lived. He could see the care she had put into her space, and it made him pause, if only for a heartbeat. Together, they carried the groceries into her kitchen. She chatted amiably, sharing snippets of her life, tales of her late husband, and her grandchildren who lived far away. Michael listened, captivated by her stories. It was as if time had slowed down, and for a brief moment, the weight of his impending interview faded into the background. He found himself laughing at her anecdotes and marveling at her resilience. It was a refreshing reminder that life was not just about deadlines and expectations, but also about connection and kindness. After they finished, the woman insisted on offering him a cookie as a token of her gratitude. He accepted, savoring the sweet treat that reminded him of his own grandmother's kitchen. They shared a few more moments, and it felt like a warm embrace in the midst of a chaotic world. But as the clock ticked on, a sense of urgency began to creep back into Michael's mind. He glanced at his watch and felt a jolt of panic. He was late, very late, for the interview that meant everything to him. "I'm so sorry, but I really have to go," he said, regret lacing his voice. The woman's face fell slightly, but she nodded understandingly, her eyes still twinkling with kindness. "Thank you for your help, dear. You've made my day brighter," she said, her voice soft yet sincere. Michael rushed out of the door, his heart heavy with the weight of what could have been. He sprinted to the correct building, but by the time he arrived, the interview had already concluded. The opportunity slipped through his fingers like sand, leaving him feeling frustrated and defeated. He had sacrificed his chance at a new beginning for a moment of kindness that felt almost trivial in comparison to his aspirations. Yet, as he walked home that day, he couldn't shake the feeling that something profound had occurred, even if it didn't align with his plans. Years passed, and life unfolded in unexpected ways. Michael faced challenges, found new jobs, and built a career that was not the one he had envisioned that day. But he often thought back to that elderly woman and the warmth of her home. He realized that the connection they shared had left a lasting imprint on his heart, a reminder that life was about more than just career milestones. Then one day, a letter arrived, its edges worn and yellowed with age. It was from a law firm, and as he opened it, a wave of disbelief washed over him. The elderly woman had passed away, and in her will, she had left him a generous inheritance. He read the words over and over, trying to comprehend the gravity of the situation. She had no family, but she had remembered him, the young man who had taken a moment out of his busy life to show her kindness. As he sat there, the weight of the letter settled on him. It wasn't just about the money. It was about the connection they had formed in that brief encounter. What had seemed like a mistake, a distraction from his goals, had led him to a moment of profound humanity. He realized that sometimes life's detours were not detours at all, but rather the paths that led us exactly where we needed to be. Michael took a deep breath, feeling a sense of peace wash over him. He understood now that the wrong door had opened up a world of possibilities he had never considered. In helping someone else, he had found a part of himself that had been lost in the relentless pursuit of success. The elderly woman's legacy was not just in the inheritance she left behind, but in the reminder that kindness could change lives, including his own.